You are watching Mentoring Conversations with Neil Janssen. Inspiring stories, wise paths. Welcome to Mentoring Conversations with Neil Janssen. In this series, we delve into the journeys of those who have triumphed over adversity. Through compelling and introspective dialogues, we illuminate tales of personal triumphs and the invaluable lessons they impart. Each episode serves as a guiding light for individuals navigating their own paths, offering stories that resonate deeply and insights that inspire. Mr. Shakes, a veteran DJ and entrepreneur, conquered apartheid's constraints, shaping entertainment into a prosperous venture. Despite a cancer diagnosis 17 years ago, his resilience defies medical odds. Transitioning from DJing to combating drug abuse, notable crystal meth, he illuminates the industry's darker realities. His story resonates with emerging talents, highlighting the industry's financial perils. Through adversity, he inspires others to pursue their passion with purpose, urging resilience in the face of challenges. Mr. Shakes' journey embodies courage, reminding us to confront obstacles with unwavering determination, forging paths of significance beyond mere glamour.
To our viewers, welcome and thank you very much for watching another Mentoring Conversations with Neil Janssen. And just to remind ourselves, with Mentoring Conversations with Neil Janssen, we aim to share stories. We aim to share stories within different sectors and industries. And we aim to also share lessons learned, and we zoom into what is unique, what is different about that specific industry. And today we're privileged to meet with an accomplished citizen of Gqeberha, or Port Elizabeth as I used to remember it when I was still here, Mr. Shakes, a very well-known club owner. I remember fondly at Club Tonight, and I can mention many other clubs where he was the owner. And today we privileged, and thank you very much, Mr. Shakes, for your time. It's an honor to be here and to allow you, in your personal space. It's such a privilege.
Thank you, Neil.
Welcome, my brother.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
So Shakes, you heard about, in summary, what I intend doing.
Yeah.
And I'd like to start off by just asking you to give us a synopsis, say 5-minute reflections on Mr. Shakes and your journey.
First of all, I'd like to thank the Almighty for the permission that we have just to meet today, you and your crew. And it's been a long and winding road. As we sit in this building, I started my first disco 50 odd years ago, when it was 50 cents to enter. We had 900 people on opening night, and a brand new Beetle was 799 rand, so money had value that time. And life was fantastic at that time. We had just moved in here from the south end and into Galvindale. And I'd also like to first of all give praise and gratefulness for the person I become through my parents. My mom, like all mothers are, you can't describe it. It's that unconditional love. My dad wasn't a learned man, but he was a hard-working man. He rode taxi and sold fish for a living. And then I have a brother, his name is Rafik. He passed away in a riot 30 odd years ago. And I have an elder sister, her name is Khairu, they call her Duchess. Mm-hmm. We're only 3 children. And I'm just enjoying the fact that I'm alive right now. And like I said, 50 odd years is a long time. It's coming on with Richard John Smith, Jonathan Butler, Ronnie Joyce, the Rockets, Bloodshed, Margaret Sigana, Brenda Fassi. All of them came through here. And I was a young promoter I was eating music. Music was my appetite, so the rest speaks for itself.
How did it start? What was the trigger that led you to?
Well,
led you to start, an interest in
I
DJing?
always loved music, and the groups that I fell in love with first was the Beatles and things like that. And we used to be three guys singing on a corner. I was a background vocals, one guy on a guitar, and my other friend, Young Ones, was a singer. And that's how it started. And my father's brother, being in America, gave me, used to bring me the music. That time it was after the twist and the rock and roll and pop music, Motown came. And after Motown was the sounds of Philadelphia, where the OJs, Harold Melvin, and those people came. And moving with the times and being on the road with all the bands and Richard and everybody, variety shows. One night the MC didn't turn up, so I had to be the MC, and I fell in love with it. But I already had music I was in love with. So the bands would come on for like 45 minutes, hour, then they take a break. And in that break, they put on a cassette, you play music. And I put my cassette in with the OJs, the sounds of Philadelphia, Motown. And people were dancing better than the bands. And so when the bands died out, so I've been doing Mossel Bay, Knysna, George, whole Eastern Cape, right up to Kokstad, the right Eastern Cape, into Graafrenet, Craddock, Middelburg I went, Uppington, okay, Namibia I went to, and then of course the whole garden route. And that's how it started. But you need people. If you think you are the bomb, you are not. You need people. So most of all is that, like I said, my parents, my mom used to tell me, the only thing of value you have is your name. If you steal and you tell lies, you will lose your name and you cannot get it back. You cannot afford to lose the value of your name. So that's the lesson I learned, and I think that's the lesson that carried me through.
So owning a nightclub, DJing, there's the glamorous part. The number one, you're on stage, and it's late nights, early mornings. First, let's share what is the joy that comes with that space before we delve a bit deeper into what is the challenges that comes with the territory.
For me, it was, I used to stand like everybody. I must have had about easy 20, 35,000 vinyls. And I stand like everybody playing music, and then I entered the national battle of the DJs. And I went to Johannesburg to a nightclub. It was a hype of apartheid. We were three colored guys in there. When I say colored, white or black, it's not racist. I'm colored. That's it. I'm not a racist. So it was myself, Russian and Russell. Russian and Russell from Cape Town. I think Russian is still DJing in there. And we entered club, and the DJs were amazing. They were they were scratching and mixing, and wow. And there I came on stage. I was playing a saxophone and had my different outfits on. I came last. I was last in the competition. But the very next night, we went to a club in Pretoria called Limelight. And this nightclub, because of apartheid, was packed with whites, only whites inside. And Reggie K from America, that was the promoter of Battle of the DJs, DMC. And then he said, okay, Shakes, you go. I said, no. I came last, let the winner go first. And they went and they went and they all went together. And I stood there, and you know, there's just something about colors. We have this thing in us. It's undescribable. So being in a golden fountain, I thought, well, I'm just going to be, there's no competition, let me just be me. And I went on stage, we were in a DJ box. I shoved the microphone on and I went to stand on the speaker, and I sang Modern Talking, You're My Heart and My Soul. And I gave the song a hiding, and the people went mal, and the people went crazy, and they wanted the encore. And I said, and the promoter said, go back, do it. I said, no. And that's the night I discovered Mr. Shakes. When I opened my first nightclub, the Club Tonight, 1992, 3, just before democracy came. Town, Neil, it was that era where freedom was here. The music was right, the youth was right, the people's search for that unfounded freedom that we got everything was just perfect. And the club took off like a rocket. First, my club was only filled with white people because we were in the northern areas, and then within 2 months choked. And then on a Tuesday and Thursday, I used to play in white nightclubs. On a Wednesday night, I was in a 30-something doing ladies' nights. Friday nights, I was Neisner, George, wherever to go. And Saturday nights, I was at Club Tonight for a full 9 years. Every Saturday afternoon to Saturday night. And it was amazing. And in 1995, I got diagnosed with cancer. It was a fight. I was Muslim at the time. And my journey, when doctors told me I got 3 days to live, that's when I found my faith in Jesus. And right now I'm in love with Jesus. I love Jesus more than I love my wife. I love Jesus more than I love my family. And He is the essence. He's the reason that I am what I am today. Amen.
Amen. Amen, brother. So if you reflect on your journey when doctors told you you have 3 days to live, take us through reflections for maybe families that are watching and somebody that was just recently diagnosed with not only cancer but any type of so-called terminal disease. What is it that carried Shakes through those difficult times?
As we're going to carry on through this podcast of yours, I'd always remind you that there is a you inside you. You need to discover that. But when the doctors gave me 3 days to live, my mom was next to my bed in the Livingston Hospital. She was crying. And she wasn't crying, sorry. She was not crying. And I was strange now what's happening, because at that time I was smoking a lot of boom, I said, let's pick marijuana, ne? Let's call it nice. Ne?
Weed
And,
or something.
yeah, weed or whatever. And my mom said, "Ay, man, you're too nice. Why are you doing this?" And she would cry when she tell me, you know. And because on Sunday mornings when she was cooking in this kitchen where we are here now, and she would sing songs like of the Platters, Only You, and things like that. And my wife's late father, his song was "Oh Danny Boy," and I used to play it on the saxophone, and we used to Sunday mornings, you know, it was like it, and it was just an amazing feeling. And on the night, I mean, on the day that my mom was in, she wasn't crying, but my wife was crying. Little did I know that they had got news that something is wrong with me. My mom and my wife left, and I laid in bed. And I took out, I was lying there, I had a TPN in here by me. It's like I think it's 3,000 Rand odd a day to put that drip in here. From the Livingston Hospital, Dr. Biari, praise the nurses, praise everybody. They saved me, but they didn't save my soul. That belongs to Jesus. Nah? So it has to be 7 days in this side into the main vein here, and 7 days. I laid almost 8 months like it. And then I got the news that I'm terminal.
Okay.
Then they left, and the night I was lying on the bed on my back. I couldn't lay on my side or anything. I lied there, and you won't believe me, Neil. I remember the Our Father which art in heaven.
Oh.
And I said the Our Father because at the time, you must remember, whether you're Muslim, Christian, Indian, everything, when we went to school, everybody say the Our Father. So at that time, I mean, now we're talking like 45, say 40 odd years later, it's like I'm saying it. And I repeated until the next morning when I woke up, Dr. Biari came with his team of people around me, and he said, "What happened to Mr. Shakespeare, Mr. Johnson? What happened to Mr. Johnson? Who touched on Mr. Shakespeare?" Because we were like, he knew me, because he's a mighty guitarist, no? Dr. Biari. He's got guitars from Elvis Presley and stuff. He's a mamba. And he said, nobody. And I had a fistula coming on the side of me out where the stool was coming out. There was no fistula the next morning. And then I heard that they had given me 3 days to live. I was laying one more day in ICU, and the next day they moved me to high care. And 7 days later, they discharged me from hospital. From ICU, high care, wards, and go home. I was weighing 43 to 44 kilograms. I was thin and slender. And as we were coming to the door, and this energy and love that was inside me, I couldn't explain. Because I'm a Muslim, and I'm in this, whoa, what's happening now? What's going on here? And then they wheel you out the hospital, you can't walk. Then they want to wheel me to the car door, and I said, no, man, I told my mom, okay, let me walk here. Né? But she said, you can't walk. And my wife said, no, man, you're going to fall over. I said, no, no, no. But there was this drive. I thought, Jesus, if this is what I'm feeling, if I make it to the car door, I'm worthy. And I made it to the car door. And from that moment, when I accepted Jesus as my Lord and Savior, things became harder. Very, very hard. I went to 9 more operations. It was just a journey. But I'm right here and I'm still moving and it's just wonderful.
Trying to project this soft life, this image on platforms like Instagram that people are just successful, they're just happy, and they don't always deal with especially nightclub owners, DJing, and the challenges that comes with that lifestyle. Do you mind to reflect and maybe share your wisdom of if a young lady of 22 is now a top DJ making the money, what would be your tips for such a lady?
First of all, in my lifetime, I came across very, very few honest people. You can become a great DJ, entertainer, everything. But if you lack honesty, it's a fake. It's false. So when I'm talking about the honesty, I'm talking about to yourself, within yourself. Like I said, that one that's inside you to discover you. This is what our youth need, you see? And it doesn't matter who is out there. You have to find yourself to be you. And that's where you can't even, as far as I'm concerned, that is my hardest part in life is honesty. To stay honest. Because it doesn't matter if you say, I believe in God, I believe in this, I believe in... And then when you go to church or whatever you do, and you come back, but you're not honest. It's a fake, it's false. That's the hardest trip. When you do things that you see, when you do wrong, it's quick, it's fast, it's easy, but you don't win. When you do right, it's longer, it's harder, but you win. But there's no badge. There's no thing that say, I'm the honest guy. It's, you feel it inside. And that's what I'm feeling. You see? And it's a journey. Because it doesn't just come like that. You have to go through those trials and tribulations. And you meet. The great part when you're honest, you can see the devil's agents coming on. Aye, man, if you're honest, you can see the secret agents coming. But if you're not, you don't see them. Make sense? There you go. So for the young guys out there, be honest with yourself. And it is not going to work. You can make all the money. I've seen the pop stars, they make so, but still, they give it all up because you know why? Because they lack honesty.
So something that I am very passionate about, and I had personal experience with family members that are faced with mental health related challenges, whether it's depression or whether it's any of the other clinical conditions. And so I want to ideally make it so-called normal for people to, in the same way that family members will describe my uncle as diabetic, and then people don't see it as an issue, But in my humble opinion, we still live in a society when we deal with mental health related challenges. It's almost frowned upon, or people would want to hide it. And for someone like yourself, being in the public eye, the pressure that came with DJing and owning a nightclub, and the glamorous side of it, how did you manage your mental health?
Well, mental health really kicked in when I was diagnosed with cancer, but it's a transformation and it's a procedure. The answer just doesn't come naturally. The most important thing is to change your mindset. And that's the hardest part. When I say change your mindset, then again I come being honest with yourself. Because it's easy to tell somebody, eat this kind of food, this is going to be good for your health. It's the hardest thing to be consistent in what you're doing. It is so hard, and you need to change your mindset. Let me simplify. Let me make sense. Everybody is born with talent. Everybody is born with passion. But how many people is born with ambition? What good is talent without ambition? What good is passion without ambition? You need to understand in life that when those factors, you got talent and ambition, how are you, like I said, breathing, minds on, survival, talent, passion, execution. Once you make your mind up, this is what you're going to do, you must realize sacrifices need to be made. And when I mean sacrifice, not for other people, for you, because you'll get the devil's secret agents coming to say, hi man, come and leave the studying, let's go here, you understand, and you know the whole story. So it's hard to be disciplined, it's hard to change mindset. The only way you can change mindset is with consistency. Otherwise you are losing. You know? And the honesty to yourself and being consistent in what you're doing. When you make up your mind to become something and change your minds and fight any battle in life, you have to understand sacrifices need to be made.
So Sheiks, one of the sort of narratives these days is almost that people are constantly in pursuit of what they deem to be happiness. And I'm a professional coach, and what my humble opinion is, ultimately, you mentioned consistency, you mentioned discipline. In my view, self-discipline ultimately is the key to living a life of freedom. And it sounds as a contradiction in terms to say self-discipline, because it implies that you are restricting yourself. But what I've learned, if you exercise enough, you consume food that nourish your body versus the rubbish that we eat. Whilst it sounds restrictive, it actually gives you health. If I act in a self-disciplined way with my money, I will have an abundance of money to live the life that I want to live. And I'm not implying a luxurious life. So what's your view as someone that has had a very rich life in terms of your exposure? Because I don't measure richness in terms of material wealth. Your reflections on self-discipline and the role that it plays in us leading an effective life.
Neil, if you remember when we started, I said to you, everything starts with you. There you come to that discipline, consistency, self. If the day you find somebody that can make a cup of tea just the way you like it, or the day you find somebody that can wash your car or clean you just the way you like it, it's never going to happen. Only you know just the way. Only you know just the way you want to kiss. Only you know just the way you want to hold. Nobody else. Coming back to it starts with you, within you. And like I said, the Almighty has given us all that. It's laying there, waiting for you to discover. And like you said, I told you it starts with you, and you said self, it's the same thing. Discipline, if you can't go write an exam if you're not disciplined to study. You fail. Basically what we're talking about. So for the youth out there, your goals, self-discipline. Consistency is mindset. Change your mindset to suit you and not other people. But of course, not working if you are doing wrong things. Né? We are talking about doing right. No lies, no falseness, being real to you. That self-honesty, that self-worthiness, that self-discipline that you just said, it is all lying in you. And as we go on later on, as you ask me along, I like to touch down to the 3 destroyers that is destroying the youth: drugs, money, and sex. Those are the 3 destroyers. Drugs you can see, money you can see, sex you can't see. That's the silent destroyer. That's what we need to teach our youth. Bottom line.
Do you mind to expand on that?
First of all, let's take drugs. When you start to do drugs, I started my drug NPO 2003 when I used to smoke buttons. I smoked dacha. I never did ecstasy. I never did, after buttons came ecstasy. After ecstasy came rocks, and now it's tuck. Now other tuck, they got other roofies and other stuff they use now. It's totally out of order. But the drugs has changed completely, you see. And the drug lords out there, they are drug lords. They'll always be drug lords. And how they become drug lords? You make them a drug lord because you go buy the drugs. They cannot be, they need people. So whether it's right or wrong, everybody need people. But you, as like I said now, it's so hard to do the right thing. Especially when it comes to family. Oh, that's another story. Family is, you can't choose your family. And from where I'm sitting, and I look at all my family, I don't say this one is dishonest and that one is dishonest. I just look and say, oh, they haven't seen the light. You know? Maybe because what I've been through and my lifestyle and stuff, I make more sense. But still, it's hard to be honest. I think for me, honesty is the hardest.
Sheikhs and mentors, you mentioned your mom, your mother-in-law, your ex-mother-in-law, but any other mentors in your life and people who assisted you on your path that you'd like to highlight and maybe highlight what did you learn from
I can tell you my dad was a humble guy. My dad rode taxi, but he loved women. He loved women. He was black as the ace of spades. He was the first guy to be caught for immorality act in South Africa when the law came out. And I think that changed his life. And him and his friend called Jalapi, they were two black guys caught with two white girls. In immorality act. I was a young 5-6-year-old or something like that. And then he wrote taxis, whites only, non-whites taxis. And then after that, when I say non-white taxi, maybe people don't understand as watching. Only whites could ride in certain taxis. My dad was black and he was riding, he owned a whites only taxi and he owned a black non-whites taxis. So he had two drivers and he used to drive the white. I think that's how he got caught up. And then once my dad started selling fish, I used to help him on the corners in South End near the harbour. And I think that's when his life changed. And then he built this building that we're sitting in now. That's 50 odd years ago. So that's now a role model for me, the way he was. But the two of us never saw eye to eye, because my dad used to sell a fish and I never ate fish. I was a vegetarian. I never ate fish, meat, eggs or chicken. I was only eating vegetables for 29 years. Until 45 years old, then I changed my diet. From a young age, a teen, 19 years, I was 29 years young. I was a vegetarian. I was 16 years old when I became a vegetarian. So those are all the factors. And then my dad always used to tell me, one day, are you going to miss this chow? And now, the fish is so expensive, and I love the fish, and now I'm missing the chow. See how the words come through. My dad is I think for every person and human being out there, there are different role models and different things. It's like, not every day can you write a #1 hit song. Not every day you're going to get a right moment. But sometime in your life, that moment will come. But are you awake enough? Or did you make that self-discipline decision? And are you honest enough to see this is something for me?
So, Shakes, we're coming sort of to the conclusion of our conversation.
Yes.
And I'd like to ask your reflections on your life, and if you were to be requested by, let's say, Galvin High to come and speak to the grade 12s. I remember when we were still at school, we used to call it Standard 10.
Yes.
What would be your 3 minutes of wisdom that you'd like to share with them?
Well, I had an MPO now, but now I'm about mothers support group. My mothers, I go around talking to mothers, because mothers are really having the bad end of the life, the deal. Because mothers are not the addicts, mothers are the victims. But mothers are also the enablers. Yeah, Fatih, don't let your dad see. Enablers. Because mothers' love is unconditional, they die for it. Your mother, even if you're wrong, she's gonna stand with you. That is my country. It's not my child. It's Mr. Shakes that brought this stuff here. It was not Neil. You see? You can't win. So I go around teaching mothers about tough love. And like I said to you, the 3 things for me, the dangers. Well, it's actually 4 things. I'll come to the first thing for me right now in this present day and age is the cell phone. That is a huge, if youth can learn that the answer is not lying in the cell phone, that it's robbing their identity, they're on their way to success. You know that, no? Our youth is lost it. Lord have mercy for AI that's coming for the youth. Okay? The next thing for, like I can tell, is drugs. Now, most parents are in denial, like I said. It's not my child, it's Mr. Shakespeare's child that brought it. And yet, it's there in front of you in your home. You as a mother and a father, mostly a mother. That's why I'm about mothers. I love mothers. My mother was, like I said, fantastic. I love mothers because they love unconditionally, like I said, but they are in denial. Because a mother, there's three things that can make you see your child is on drugs. Number one, if your child is not eating like he used to eat, is something wrong here. Number two, if your child is not eating like he used to, and number two is if he's not sleeping regular hours. You can't must now just change overnight, because with drugs, you're sleeping in. And number three, when you start to do any substance abuse, you become sloppy on your dressing. Or say, for instance, your mom buy you a new pair of tackies. Come, oh no, I was walking down the road, they stole my tackies. He sold the tackies for drugs. But being a mom or a parent, hi man, you see those guys, they robbed my son, blah, 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 blah. Do you understand? So that is also the three things. Then we come to the money. Because once you make money, you become greedy. And then you lose all respect for yourself. And here's the kicker. The kicker is the sex. For me, it's the most dangerous one of all. Because you can see the drugs, you can see the money, you can see the cell phone, but you can't see the sex. Nobody is going to tell you what is sexually going on in their minds. And yet we as parents, we fail wholeheartedly to explain to our children not how to have sex, the dangers of sex. Let's be honest for a moment. So here you have a child. No? Child is born, primary school, grade R, primary school, high school, university, and you put your savings, everything into the child. And now they meet that one wrong girlfriend or that wrong. You equipped him with everything, but you don't equip him with the main thing. Did your son fall out the sky or your daughter? They were made, but you don't want to talk to them. How about the sex? How it is the dangers of a sex? How it is the diseases? This is the problem. That's why we got so many kids. Our communities overflowing with unwanted babies for grants, and it's just a ripple effect of not educating them sexually. And yet, you want them just to go on their phone and look the porn site. What a fool! What a fool! You rather want to put your whole 20 odd years and let you give him a cell phone to go discover this bad thing? How can it be? How can it be? When you know like I tell you now for once, I meet up with somebody, no? The lighty is Down syndrome. And you know when they Down syndrome, they have a huge appetite for sex. Huge.
Thanks. Mr. Shakes, once again, thanks for your time. My last question would be, what's now next for Mr. Shakes? You've obviously had, through your experiences, your encounter with cancer, lots of time to reflect, and now your vision for the rest of your life.
For me, I would like to go around the whole country to talk to mothers and to talk to young men exactly what I spoke to you about. But a sad situation for me that I understand is that we have so many colored millionaires that don't want to invest in our young men. And I'm not saying out in buying soccer boots and buying this and I say invest in their minds, into that self-discipline, into that follow-through, and the dangers of the sex that's lying ahead of you. There is nothing more fulfilling for me in life than understand what it is to make a woman feel like a woman. That's the ultimate. Whether you're bisexual, heterosexual, LGBT, whatever you are, you will make love. But the trouble is this, do you understand what it takes to make the partner feel the feeling they're supposed to feel when they were supposed to feel the feeling they're supposed to feel?
So, Shakes, thank you very much for your time. There's so much to talk about. You know, we
No,
can take another
I just
hour.
hope that.
I'm grateful that,
I just
that
hope
we,
that
we could connect. And I promise you, we are going to run a short-term project together. I am trained as a master mentor, and I will make this commitment publicly that it's up to you. Between Farah, yourself, and myself, we can run a little
get a place,
and
like
then,
I said to you.
Then it's like you're saying, let's stop talking. Let's
Follow through.
And
Now,
let's start not trying to save the world. If we only take 10 kids, we focus on them and we try and impact on them. We're already going to start changing
now,
the world. So
when,
thank you, my brother, for
when
the
you
opportunity.
when you called me, you said, Mr. Shakes, how much will it cost me? And I told you, I don't charge, because as soon as you profit out of something, it don't have legs. I'm not doing this because I want money. I'm doing this because I want to make a difference in somebody's life. That's all. That's it. And I think those are the dangers that we discussed, and those are the things that. Imagine if you can, like, book the stadium here and you just fill it with young people, man, and I just come and tell them the way it is. We are not investing in the stadium. We're not investing in us. We are investing in changing mindset. And listen, there's no rewards. Because in 20 years' time, the rewards will come up. The person will say, on this night, my life changed.
Exactly.
That's what I would like to do,
So
Neil.
thanks, my brother, and thanks to all of you for watching. And you can certainly go on www.abundancetalenthub.com and you will see exactly what we stand for and what we aim to achieve. So from, is it Trebega? And it's in St. Adam's Drive in Calvindale. Thank you very much and thanks for watching.